I was quite surprised on Sunday evening. A friend of mine said, "Oh, John, hit piece." I get an email titled "hit piece," and lo and behold, the CBC is at it again.
Last November, John Carpay of the Justice Centre for Constitutional Freedoms was one of many speakers, yours truly included, at the Rebel Live conference in Calgary. At one point in John Carpay's 20-minute speech, he referenced the swastika, the hammer and sickle, and the rainbow flag. The left lost their minds, and it only took a couple of hours after John Carpay wrapped up his speech for the left-wing pundits, the CBC included, to smell the blood in the water. I just got back from interviewing him at his office, where I started by asking him to remind our viewers what happened in November.
I was giving a speech at a conference put on by the Rebel.media. I was talking about the free society and contrasting it with totalitarian societies. What are the characteristics of each? What are the fundamental freedoms or lack thereof in each? And I made a point that any symbol, any flag, any color, any banner, any political symbol can be used as the banner under which our fundamental freedoms are attacked. And then I carelessly referenced three very different political symbols. I talked about the rainbow flag and the Nazi swastika and the communist hammer and sickle, referred to the three of them in the same sentence, and subsequently the NDP, the CBC, and a bunch of other people mischaracterized what I said.
Look, John knows what he said was wrong. He misspoke, and by the sounds of it, he was eager to correct the record. It seemed like the fiasco was over. John had apologized and the Twitter sphere had moved on. But you know as well as I do, one clickbaity article about purported homophobic white men is just never enough for the CBC. Late Monday night, Sarah Regier of the CBC posted this article. It didn't add anything to the story that was months ago. It was just a creepy update on the life of a private citizen. Instead of putting the billions of dollars that Trudeau gives them to good use at the CBC, the activist team in Calgary decided Albertans just needed to be reminded that SJWs on Twitter were triggered a few months ago. Why are they so desperate and so obsessed with John? Here's his take.
I don't know. It could be that they just don't like the whole idea of the free society and fundamental freedoms, which I've been fighting for all my life.
The author of this article is a known communist denier. And what I mean by that is whenever it's politically inconvenient to acknowledge communism and the slippery slope that it shares with the CBC's socialist agenda, they act like the Soviet circus elephant in the room just doesn't exist. Remember when Sarah Regier wrote a love letter style article about the NDP candidate for Calgary Varsity, who was a registered communist? Regier just left out the part of the article that actually told readers McGrath was a commie. Very convenient. The same thing happened to John Carpay. Actually, let's play his original statement.
I'm a fan of true diversity. True diversity is the hallmark of the free society. It's one of the characteristics. You've got real differences in belief and in religion and so on and so forth. But when these people talk about, when the totalitarians talk about diversity, it doesn't mean diversity. It means you're going to agree with what I think, particularly about matters of sexuality. You'd better toe the party line and join in our postmodernist, hedonistic, progressive vision of sexuality. And if you disagree with that, well, that's just not allowed. Tolerance, well, these people are intolerant. Inclusion, not for a Christian university that wants to have a law school. Not much inclusion there, is there? So inclusion is also a lie. And equity, again, could be a good thing, but for social justice warriors, there's this everlasting conflict. Everything's about conflict between men and women, between straight people and gay people, between light-skinned people and dark-skinned people, between Christians and non-Christians. This is how they see life. They don't recognize the dignity of each individual. Right? Everything is group warfare, and everything's about attacking who is on the wrong side. So this is what we're up against. It is a nasty, aggressive ideology. It has been working very hard for decades to implant itself and entrench itself, and it's going to take hard work and sacrifice and suffering to defeat it. And it's going to take time. So what do? How do we defeat today's totalitarianism? Right? Because again, you got to think about the common characteristics. It doesn't matter whether it's a hammer and sickle for communism, or whether it's the swastika for Nazi Germany, or whether it's a rainbow flag. The underlying thing is a hostility towards individual freedoms. The underlying thing is a vision where government is the master, and government is forcibly guiding us towards this wonderful utopia, rather than allowing us to exercise our freedoms and raise our families and lead our own lives.
Did you notice the two deadly ideologies that he mentioned? Nazism and communism, the swastika and the hammer and sickle, two unparalleled evils, yet to this spin doctor at the CBC, it's like John Carpay didn't mention the hammer and sickle at all. Why is that?
I think it's just plain media bias, in the same way that if my statement had been that our fundamental freedoms could be attacked under the banner of the swastika, the communist hammer and sickle, or the Christian cross, there would have been zero coverage, because they don't care if Christianity is compared to Nazism, or if Christians are compared to Nazis. That doesn't bother the CBC or a lot of other media. That's just par for the course. It's free speech. Not newsworthy would be their excuse.
What John mentioned about Christianity reminded me of a comic that was posted by Christopher Wells. He's a socialist commentator in Alberta. He posted this meme. It directly calls the largest religious group in Alberta a bunch of Nazis who kill gay men. Who gets to determine when someone is and is not a Nazi? I really want to know. Because people are getting to the end of their ropes here. Very few things come close to matching the evils of communism and fascism. People know that, and keeping parents informed about their children's well-being at school to Stalin, Mao, and Hitler is just irresponsible journalism. For the Rebel.media, this is Keean Bexte. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the coverage. The Rebel isn't a conventional cable news network. To get the latest news and stories just like these, you need to be subscribed to us. You can do that by clicking the red button below the YouTube video. That way you'll never miss a thing.